Good afternoon, I am Pete, also known as Risk for Rewards on Twitter, just under 4,000 followers. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, click the subscribe because the Twitter and the videos are going to be kept separate, because the videos I can put out straight away with initial thoughts, whereas obviously the Twitter content, I need to type it all up, digest it, and then put it in more detail. So these are just my initial thoughts, ready for day 2, the Wednesday of Cheltenham, which is becoming my favourite day of Cheltenham. I've had plenty of good luck with it in the past, and hopefully it'll be the same again. I will be on track for this occasion. So straight into it. The Ballymore, exactly what I said with the Supreme. So if you haven't watched that video, you'll have to watch Tuesday's video. I'm not going to go into all the details. The only ones who aren't entered in there that I will cover is Journey With Me is a very interesting runner. However, I'm adamantly sure that the way the Ballymore's run is that they slowly plod round the whole race, and even though it's longer than the Supreme, they then sprint the last, say, 3-4 furlongs, and that's the way it's always gone. Whereas I think as much as Journey With Me did well last time to win in a very similar sort of technique, he's just not, he's a stayer for me. So I think he should be in the Albert Bartlett, and I think there'll be others that are quicker than him on the turn of foot. But we'll go into more detail close to the time when we know the final fields. I don't want to bust everyone trying to chase the novices. On to the Festival Novices Chase. Obviously, Galloping Deschamps, 1 minute he's running, 1 minute he's not. So I'm just going to skip him out for the time being, and I'll cover him in the Turners video, because that's where he's currently going according to his trainer, but we will see. Brave Man's Game is literally tailor-made for this race. He has done everything, the whole Paul Nicholls debacle. He could not have campaigned this any better. It's the exact same route as they used to take all the old school boys back in the Denman days. They've campaigned him in open company against good horses. He's given weight to handicappers, and he's just handing out a beating everywhere. He would win what is known as the old school RSA, where they go there and they're battle hardened and they beat all the unexposed, classy looking, the likes of the Bob Ollingers. However, a lot of times change, like Monkfish went there and he was unbeaten. That's a rarity to see a horse like that. But you're getting more unexposed horses, you're getting smaller fields. So as much as Brave Man's Game is definitely the one to beat, my only concern with Brave Man's Game is I've only seen him properly off the bridle twice, and on both occasions he was beaten last year. They were both in Group 1s. The Cheltenham run was obviously behind Bob Ollinger. He was on the bridle until he got to the turn, and then Bob just sprinted away from him. And then obviously a hard race at Aintree, so I'm writing that off altogether. So I'm not saying he's a weak finisher, but I just don't know what he's got off the bridle. But that wouldn't put me off. I do think he's the rightful favourite, and he's definitely the selection. If the Galloping doesn't run, is him and Ahoy Senor. Ties in well. The track was never going to suit him when he took on Brave Man's Game at Kempton, and this track will suit him a lot better in Galloping. I'm not sure where we stand with him. Like, he's not the best jumper, but he's got a huge engine and he's a big galloper. So this will be his acid tests, because this will show whether he is close to in a Group 1 horse or whether he's just been flattered with what he's done. He tends to put in some explosive races and then he's a bit... So, but this track will suit, and if he's in the start, those will be my two. Brave Man's Game and Ahoy Senor. La Home Press, obviously again, I don't know if he's going to run here. Good jumper, but I don't see him at the same level as a horse like Brave Man's Game, but that's just my opinion. Capodanno will, if running here, will come here off a full, which is never ideal. And I also think the way the horse has been battered about by like Bob Ollinger, then Galloping Deschamps, he's not a top level Group 1 horse, and Brave Man's Game still has the opportunity to be that top level. So it would be a strong case for both Brave Man's Game and a cover on Ahoy Senor for me. The Coral Cup, I'm not going to go through this because it's ginormous. Obviously, I still think there's a strong chance that, I can't even see her in the betting, Echoes in Rain may run, but they said she's a small filly, so she doesn't like carrying large weights. State Man, just with regards to the Coral Cup and the other two handicaps, both the Martin Pipe and the County, he could go anywhere. So, but I think he is well handicapped. Obviously, it's very hard and just to estimate his ability, and I thought the handicapper would guess and probably give him maybe an extra £5, but he hasn't. He's been let in lightly. He's £1 less than the likes of, say, Galloping Deschamps, but they have very different profiles. This horse is a bit like a Saint Ra, where he's very unexposed and you've got no idea how good he is. Whereas Galloping ran in the best races and then came back to a handicap as a novice hurdler. So, but he is one of interest in all of the handicaps for me. Champion Chase. Right, so Shishkin will always be the one for me, as in, I'm not going to look through this and be like, oh, I'd like to bet him. I wouldn't put you off a cover bet on Energumene at the prices at 7-2 or whatever. I backed Cheltenham Antepost last year at 7-1 after his demolition job in Punchestown, but I wouldn't be in a rush to back him now. I haven't seen him in the Tingle Creek in first hand get whomped again on UK soil. And also obviously he underperformed. And Willie Mullins saying he can only train to 90-95%. I want a horse that's trained to 110%. I'm not saying he can't win, but I wouldn't be in a rush to obviously like you're looking Shishkin might be evens on the day and you're giving away some profit. Whereas if he wins, he wins. It's rather than, you may as well just keep your profit. You don't want to be backing either money shot then covering half the field with cover bets. I think Energumene had everything go his way last time out and he still couldn't get the better of Shishkin. And I think the camp will know that. It'll be interesting to see who Townend chooses. But Energumene will do very similar again. The only issue I have with Shishkin this year is it's looking like a fairly big field. Like there's plenty that are going to take the chances. Like with the front three from last year, Noob Negra, Put the Kettle On, Chakan, they're all going to take their place. Envoy Allen's apparently going here. You've got the likes of Greenatine, you've got Politologs. So I say a big field, it might be 10 runners. All I'm saying is the difference is that the likes of Energumene and Chakan, it would not be surprised me if those two bolted off 1-2 and then Shishkin tried to sit in behind. But the downside is obviously you're hostage to fortune if you're anywhere but in front. But it suits his run style and him coming up that hill, I can already see it now. The crowd will be roaring and I see only one result and I'll be disappointed if he gets beat. Followed him all the way and I will be following him home. And on to the next one I followed all the way. It's Tiger Roll time. Cross country. I did a video for this on the Wednesday ACCA and Tiger Roll I put up, I said 4-1 was a gift and he's 2-1 now. He's getting more like the price he probably should be and I do expect him probably to go off 6-4 because plenty of this field's probably going to cut up. Easy's Land, he's had 2 handicaps in the last 2 weeks. Second one over 2 mile 4 and he just looks like he's getting hammered from the back to try and get fitness and then he's pulled up in both. So they're literally just doing race course gallops. Like if the ground turned up soft, yeah, he might have a chance, but I'm not a fan of that prep. And the fact that he's gone to John Joe O'Neill says to me that he's all about the national rather than this race. We look at Midnight Maestro and Shady Operator. Yep, they got a chance for Edna Bolger. Not gonna knock that. Prengard, I've no idea what they're doing with this horse. Like he finished in 18th the other day. I do genuinely think they've run out of time. I think that it'll be the future. Will be next year onwards. I don't think they're in a rush to take on Tiger Roll. And I'll be very disappointed and very surprised if Delta Work took his place, even as a 5-1 second favourite. Because why would you try and stop your own horse making history if you've already got the favourite and for Gigginstown? So it's Tiger Roll just to, if he runs to anything he has in the past. But yeah, he was beat one time, but he still ran a race, but it was very soft ground. We don't want to see too soft ground. If he's got good in the title, I think he is 100% the one to beat. And if he repeats anything from last year, they're not going to know what's hit him. If he doesn't win, it's a free-for-all. And any of the ones in behind could win. I just wouldn't want to be putting a guess. Grand Annual, plenty of love for Buddy Rich, and I understand that. He's been given a fair mark. I'm not 100% sure on his genuineness in the finish, but I'm going to watch more of his videos close to the time. Brave Siaska, as I mentioned, in behind Third Time Lucky. That's solid form, and he has beat Sky Pirate, but he was receiving weight back then. And obviously Sky Pirate won the Grand Annual. So they'll be closer in the weights now. But I'd say he's got a chance, but it is a concern that the yard have been saying that a few of them are under the weather at the moment. Sky Pirate, they've been campaigning for this all the way around. So he's only going to be a few pounds higher, but it was nip and tuck him winning. But his run style suits this race down to the ground. He hold up, hide in behind, and then delivered late. So I wouldn't put you off him, and it wouldn't surprise me. I just want to see him a bigger price than he was last year. So you'd want to be seeing not far off 20-1, and he might well be that on the day. So yeah, Sky Pirate's in with a shout, but that's another you can look at close to the time when they get smaller. Champion Bumper, this is a brilliant race. Facile Vega, I wrote my thing yesterday for this, and Facile Vega and American Mike could not be any more similar to the two last year. So Facile Vega was the classy winner, looks very good breeding, so stylish, don't know what you're going to get, and obviously a recency bias Mac 10 because it only ran recently. American Mike, the complete opposite, looks a proper national hunt horse. He's not so much stylish, it's just the fact he demolishes opposition. And again, he's just disappeared. He's kept very quiet. It reminds me exactly the same of last year's Sir Gerard and Kilcrook, in the fact that Kilcrook was the even money favourite after his classy display, and Sir Gerard was his American Mike. And they're very similar horses, coming from the powerhouses, Elliott and Mullins. They've both got different ways of training their bumpers, and both of them look like between them they will take the beating. However, and those are the two that I've backed. I've Facile Vega at 20-1 and American Mike at 3-1. I think the prices, American Mike, his price might shorten because plenty of the Irish will put him up. Whereas Facile Vega, you've got to be getting evens or bigger on the day, I would have thought. But there are good other horses in here, but until we know who else is running, we don't know. And also everything's unexposed. So you are guessing. You don't want to be wading in and having your biggest bet on the fact that you think that one of these two is going to be the next big thing. Like Redemption Day looked brilliant, but he's only had one bumper this side of Christmas. So he is going to be very unexposed, and the day might get to him. So you just don't know. But until the rest of the field forms, then I wouldn't be in a rush to weigh in. So Ballymore, as discussed, no need to bet that yet. Festival Novices, if no Galloping Des Champs, then it's Brave Man's Game and Ahoy Senor for me. The Coral Cup, interested in State Man, but obviously we don't know where he's going yet. Champion Chase, Shishkin all the way. Energamina wouldn't put you off a cover bet. Cross Country, Tiger Roll. Grand Annual, the shortlist at the moment is Brave Siaska, and obviously the Pirates are always going to get a loyalty bet, but I haven't looked properly at that race. And the Champion Bumper, Facile Vega and American Mike are my bets. So that is Tuesday covered.